YTPC, board smoking pipes here. Still Sunday. 2 hours into the great snow event of 2021. Still 8 degrees. We're looking at a little over 1/16 of an inch. Picked up there for a little bit and then slowed back down. Greg over there at Tunnel Take, it's coming. Just seen your video where all you getting's rain. 32 degrees. Catch, brother. Gonna get cold. Interesting hillbilly English accent there, Greg. Old chap. Or was that your professor personification? Either way, it was interesting. Well, still tired of the cold. Come back out, picked up the same pipe. 53. Got Burley Light without a bite in it. It don't burn hot, I don't think. Still cool in the hand. Coffee's hot. Thank goodness, because it's cold outside. I'd like to go down the river today, Scott. Well, if it wasn't so cold outside. We got smallmouth bass that run this whole area up here. Whew. That is fun. No matter what size they are. Find the small pockets has the smaller ones in it, you know, the one below the limit line. But talking about full of energy. Those suckers hit that and take off the other way. Of course, I use a light line and small lures. I'm just out there catching and releasing. Kind of at a leisurely pace, exploring the creeks and rivers, wading, not this time of year, but wading up and down them, dodging snakes. I was out there fishing last year, we're talking about snakes. Come up on a collapsed bridge, had real deep pockets around the pylons, what was left. Kind of had to maneuver my way up in there slowly, watching for snakes. Got on this rock bar. Of course, clear water fishing like that shallow, you can't walk right up on the pool. So I cast out across it, down the rock bar. Keeping the rod up high. Roll right by a fallen slab. I get a strike. I jerk back, set the hook, you know. Almost jerked the little fish right out of the water. And I'm reeling in, and I'm starting to move forward a little bit, but there's shallow water on the rock bar and duckweed. So I go ahead and pull the fish forward, and right at the edge of the water, and I mean I must have hit him right between the eyes, was an old water moccasin. All of a sudden that sucker reared up right behind that fish skating on top of the water, starts chasing it. I didn't know where to throw that pole or walk on water. Yeah, it spooked me for a minute. I laughed about it then, after I calmed down. Fun story to tell. Imagine old Ford taking off across the top of that water. I bet you I could have walked on 1 inch. I didn't know where to bend down, pick up a rock, keep reeling, and run off. Things I get myself into. Good blend. It does fit the bill for an early morning pipe. Could be an all-day blend. I tend to get a little stronger as the day goes on. I think I'm gonna pull out the YTPC blends today. It's just a cold day. I haven't made up my mind if it's a chestnut day or a Byzantium day. Probably will, one of the last pipes of the day, pull out the Byzantium. YTPC bomb to end it with. Had to turn the vehicles around. Get out of that northwest wind. Trying to protect the batteries and the radiators. And the freeze is at a 50-50 ratio. It's good for some negative temperatures. It's not going to last a super long time. Currently, they're forecasting our next chance to get above freezing sometime around Friday. Gonna wreak havoc on the pipes, I'm sure. I got water running, doors open, heaters up. 100-watt light bulb in the well house to keep it from chilling too far. Really thinking about using a Dakota hole fire near the well house. Running a vent pipe under the well house. Let the stack come up behind it. That way you set your fire out away from it in a hole in the ground with the vent underneath so that it draws air through the fire, through the vent pipe, warms the ground, comes back out the other side and goes up in the air. Not a bad way to deal with your greenhouse too. Not a bad way to deal with the underpipes in a trailer. Use the ground for your mass, heat the mass so it retains the temperature, and the mass will radiate heat for quite a while. Seen some videos once where they used that theory with the rocket mass with a rocket stove. Stumbled onto that theory, the rocket stove, before I knew what it was. Stumbled onto that. Had to haul off a bunch of hedge apple trees. Some call it Osage orange. Really dense wood. It'll make your chains throw sparks on a chainsaw. Anyway, I had to haul off a big stack of it that had been piled up for a long time. Had a rotten spot right down the middle. And I, instead of paying to dispose of it, I took it back out on the farm and started setting it afire. Well, this one that had that core rotted out in the middle of it, I set up on end and just goofing around, took some lighter fluid and put down in it because it's damp. Got that dampness boiled out of it. That dadgum stump, or log, started shooting flames out the top of it like a jet engine. And like I said, I'd never seen videos on it, never even heard of this stuff. So the rest of the bonfire had burnt down and pretty much ash. And this log was still sitting there going like crazy. And it hadn't burned a lot out of it. You know, that log lasted for 3 bonfires, 4 maybe. And that's, let's just say 3 to be safe. So that's like 9 or 10 hours before it ever reached the outer edges of it. And it wasn't but a 10-inch log diameter. Learned a lot that time. Then later I come up on some videos about how other guys have done it and how they split them out, take the core out, band them back together, and it was a Swedish cook stove. I didn't know what that was. Just an old hillbilly from Arkansas. Since then, taking coffee cans and built rocket stoves and learned a lot. I think I done went and let it go out or made it to the bottom, not sure which. Well, I thought I'd get on here and give you the update on the weather report. Share a pipe with you. It's like bowl number 6. A burly light without a bite. Told Scott on the 16th day that Pretty sure that'll be my stand-in for quarter hole. Getting kind of fond of it. If it keeps up, I may have some Chatham Manor that's available. If anybody's interested. Of course, if it's 6 months or a year after I produce this video, it'll probably be gone. Chatham Manor is a good blend, don't get me wrong. It's just me and it don't agree on everything. It doesn't do what I got it for. YTPC. Y'all be safe out there. Stay warm. Old Ford signing out.